games. Today we're playing MBT games. We are on turn 6. Game. And I posted videos of gameplay onto my video account. They're absolutely free, so if you want some long form videos, they're over there. Just below. And all my long form videos for this game is online over there. This is more just a summary. I saw a game player when he played Cancer. And he did a solitaire scenario, and he used the logs, and that works really, really well. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I'd like to do more long form videos, and then turn 6. Turn 6. So the NATO troops have 6 commands, I think, and the Soviets have 15 commands. I think that's inaccurate. I don't think the NATO troops have 16 commands. Anyways, yeah, there's the correction. NATO troops have 4 commands. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating my own, I want to create some shorthand for gaming. Like when you look at chess, in chess they have a shorthand and it's a common way of speaking. I'd like to create that language, particularly for MBT games, but if that could be done throughout the entire, for all hex, like a general system, that would be fantastic. Okay, so let's go forward. All right. And here I'm just getting counters ready right here. Just over here. So now we're in the command phase. There's your fire command. And that will be my indirect fire unit, the 106, the M106 mortar. It's basically an M113 chassis with a mortar. And there's my overwatch for the indirect fire. There's my overwatch for the units that no one can see. Headquarters tank. Over here, I'm not sure what I'm testing. Oh, I'm just testing last site for some reason. Just going through anything significant. I don't like using the pause button for some reason, because for some reason the pause button on me just like freezes my, well, whenever I come back from the pause, it's like, well, yeah, okay. So anyways, I have a Bradley down here, down south. Just gonna go over this big hill. The battle is really being fought. There's a big hill down south, a big hill up north, and the road goes close to the big hill up north. And the Soviets are coming down the main road. There's a little town toward the west edge of the map. That's where the NATO forces have their headquarters, and that's where they have all the Abrams. I had some Bradleys out, recon vehicles, just Bradleys and squads, and I'm recalling them now and getting them in position to fire. So now we place the Soviets. That's one thing I would like to do more, is a lot of times when I'm listening to videos, I'm not looking at the videos. I would like to describe what's going on more, almost like a play-by-play. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to give the fire commands to all the Russian tanks who are going to fire on the NATO tanks. Move command to that mechanized rifle platoon to get them in a good position, so when we move out, they can move out. I gave remove command to that one little BMP over there in the corner. And the rest of them just give them no commands too. Here's the initiative. NATO rolls 91. Soviets roll 67. NATO wins. NATO indirect fire. All right, let's try this again. I want you to be able to see what's going on. So there's the spotting unit, range of 9. And there's the firing unit at M106, range of 16. This right here is the availability roll. All right, I had no response on the response roll. I needed again, the response in order for the indirect fire to actually respond and be done. You need to roll, it depends on the type of unit. You roll 5 or I roll 3. So there was no indirect fire this turn. Yep. Okay, no Soviet indirect fire. NATO direct fire. And there we go. Right here. Okay, so now I'm going to choose my targets. So I'll pull this down a little bit. See 2 shots, both of that hex. I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm messing up. Okay, so I'm firing at the S1s over here, 2 S1s. Now, I think this was a mistake. I think in this hex, I should have fired at the 2 tanks. That would have made more sense. But if you're if you're firing at a tank against a front aspect, that's challenging to get a kill. Okay, so let's go forward. Range of 12. 5. And my unit quality is 1. So the net modifier is +3 rows up, +3 row shift. And so the 2 hit was 91. That's a hit. And it penetrates because that is a S21. It's a heavy artillery, but it's very lightly armored. Location damage. And it's just a KO. So I'll put it. Penetrates. I don't know why I rolled a blue D10, but oh, okay, that was a. Okay, I mistake that. I actually rolled the wrong dice. I mistake that for a 0-6 when it was actually a 6, because right there it says blue D10, so I counted it as a track hit. Me bad. Check for bail, and they actually bail out anyway, so it's pointless. They actually bail out. Okay, so the next one is, let's see. So I guess that wasn't that the first fire. Didn't I KO that? Okay, that was a mistake. Thought I got KO by, well, it was the same thing anyways. I got a bail. Okay. Let's see. Next is short range. Brew up. Okay, so I did that right, I think. All right. Anyway, so the next is going to be short range. Brew up. -2 row shift. Laser sights. Now, laser sights wouldn't count against a brew up, so you don't get that bonus, and unit quality is 1. It hits. Now that should not have been a hit, and the reason being is the 2 hit number was 77. So let's see. So what it should have been is brew up -2. Laser sights don't work because there's brew up smoke, and then unit quality +1. So it should have been short range and -1 to the dice roll. So we're looking at short range -1, so it should have been 63 to hit, not 77. So that should have been a miss, but fortunes of war. And again, as I go along, I'm playing better. 62 location damage, and it's a KO. Well, I guess I made up for the original KO I did. That I didn't count. So actually works out. Incredible how that works sometimes. All right. Okay. Here I'm just suggesting the spotting. Now over here I have my own. I modified the MBT module so that it doesn't keep on giving all these messages right here, because these messages are if you have 2 people and you're typing, and here I can talk to you. So we do another initiative. NATO wins. And NATO has direct fire. That's the shot right there. So this is going to be an anti-tank guided missile. Going to be a tow missile. Point blank range. Okay. SH. Short halt. There's no stabilization, so it's -4 row shift. So point blank with -4 row shift. Row shift results in a 54 to hit. That's a 57, so that was a miss. Should go, okay. Now it's all Soviets because they're the only, the NATO has no more fires left. Okay, so what happened last turn was, yeah, there were 3 shots by me, right? 3 shots by me. One of them was a bail, one of them was a KO, and one of them should have been either KO, should have been another KO, but I have a hull damage instead, so all right. Now it's all Soviets. And direct fire, of course. So those 2 tanks right there up north. So on that big hill, on the front, on this western side of that, there are 2 tanks and some light woods that are firing against the NATO units that are in the alleyways of the town. Let me just adjust this. Yep, there we go. So there's the first shot. Short range, penetration 97. CM is cover modifier, -1 row shift on the short range. And it's a 2-hit, 63. Boom, hits. Was kinetic energy used? It wasn't the, I didn't use the Songster anti-tank guided missiles that those tanks had. Front aspect. Okay, so now I think I'm using the correct, penetration modifier. I think I'm rolling a D100. I think the blue 10 might have been for ammo availability, because for the T-80BV tanks, their go-to ammo, the go-to weapon is the Songster anti-tank guided missile. So you have to roll for availability of the kinetic energy, which is basically a discarding SIBO. Or so penetration 94, and LD is location damage. Hull front, the hull front armor is 100. There was no penetration on that. Then the next shot's going to be at the vehicle. Now this again, this right here is, it's going to be at the front side aspect, which isn't too great. All right, I should have turned those vehicles around. All right, anyways, point blank, cover them off on -1, 2-hit, 81, 45 is a hit. Front side aspect, that would be blue 9. Why am I rolling a blue dice? No penetration for anti-tank guided missile. Go down. Okay, now I'm taking a 3rd shot from there for some reason. So I took 1 kinetic energy. Now I took 2 anti-tank guided missile shots. Front side aspect, hull front hit. All right. Reactive armor, 117 times 2 reactive armor. So the reactive armor is 234. The penetration is 180. So there was no penetration on the anti-tank guided missile. I think my notes were just confusing me. All right, over here, these guys. 2 separate targets, tanks firing. So they're both going to have, let me see how many units I have over there. So these are the tanks. They're going to be firing, and they're firing at 2 separate targets. One's going to be firing at the vehicle that has a front aspect. One's going to be firing at the target vehicle that has a front side aspect. And they're going to be firing kinetic energy. Short range cover modifier -1, 63 for an aspect. It's a hit. Penetration modifier. Again, I'm doing the wrong penetration. I should be rolling 2 dice. PM0, no penetration modifier. Location damage. And my play does get better as we go along. Okay, so the 7 is going to be a hull front hit. Armor in 100, penetration 97, shot bounces off. Next vehicle. This is against the front side aspect. 2 at 63, again 92, and it's a miss. And so there's a, in addition to those two tanks are part of the 4th platoon of tanks. There's also the headquarters, heavy artillery, and they had a separate fire command. Now they're going to fire, so they're firing high explosive anti-tank at the vehicle with the front side aspect. I need 4. That should be 4 or greater on the die roll. I rolled a 3, so it passed. So let's take a look at that. Okay. Oops. Okay, so this is the vehicle we're looking at right here. And we're looking at heat, high explosive anti-tank. A. So there's, see the H there? So 4. So that means, yes, 4 or less, and it has high explosive anti-tank. All right, I was excellent. So 4 or less, and it passed. So it does have the high explosive anti-tank round. Long range for that particular vehicle. For a tank that would have been different. Long range cover modifier -1. So 2 hit is 27. Just missed. I needed a 28, but I needed a 27. I got 28. Close call. And these right here are tanks. This one's against the front side aspect. Okay. But instead, I chose to fire against this one right here, the Bradley. Medium range, cover modifier -1 because of the, actually it should have been cover modifier -3. The 2 hit is 45. 46 is a miss anyways. Did I call that? A lot of this is just how I'm taking notes. It's very confusing. Okay, so observer D100 equals 46. Blue D10 is 6. So blue D10 was supposed to be the penetration modifier. Okay, I gotta go forward. Okay. That's the location damage. It said hull side. Penetration 86. The armor is 47, but CE reactive armor is 47 times 2. 94 is the armor, so there'd be no penetration on that. All right, right here we have the 3 anti-tank ion missile shots against the Bradley. I don't know what that 3 times 10 is. 2 hits, it penetrates. Hull front hit, KO. Check for passenger bailout. Okay. So if it's a KO, shouldn't need bailout. All right. Oh, the passenger bailout. Okay. So what happened was, if your vehicle is KO'd, eliminated, and your vehicle is carrying passengers, if it's KO'd, the crew is automatically gone. But the passengers have a chance to bail out. So that shot took the Bradley out, and you roll to see if the passengers escape. And in this case, they did. Because yep, let's go forward. And if they bailed out, they're suppressed. 3 tanks. So I'm going to have 3 tanks firing at this one tank right there. One of those tanks, the tank that actually had the turret problems, its front side aspect is what's presenting. So I need a 9 or so. This is, so 3 shots, I need a 9 or less to have that ammo. Now, if you don't have the ammo, if you fail an ammo availability dice roll, there's only a modifier to the 2 hit. It's actually a large modifier, but medium range, base penetration 86, plus 9 penetration modifier will be 95 penetration. Here's the place, this is the point where I was making a mistake. You need 2 die rolls for a penetration. There's a second die roll, so no net penetration, they cancel out. Location damage is 3-1. It's a turret side hit, no damage. Now we're using a special damage check. One of the possibilities when you get a hit on a tank or any vehicle is no damage. However, there's an optional rule where you can check for specific damage to different systems like the radio or the turret ring. That's how one of those vehicles right there, the turret got stuck in a certain position. Okay, so no effect, no additional damage, but because there was a close call, you still have to check for bailout, and no bailout. Next shot. 24. I should have checked for ammo availability there. I didn't. So 24, and there's the roll. So I have right there is the roll. 24, and then I just put down the details of the shot. So I have to put down the details of the shot and then roll it. This is a learning experience. It's a hit. Penetration modifier 98 plus 14 to penetration, so the net penetration is 100. Location damage, turret front. Now turret front becomes turret side hit due to the turret facing northeast. So the turret, that vehicle was hit previously, was no damage, but the turret mechanism was broken, so the turret is locked into position. So even though that's a front side shot and it would be a turret front hit, it becomes a turret side hit. And that resulted as penetration and brew up. And that's the fire phase. All right. So I don't know why I'm checking. Okay. And that's it. So that says, before when firing on a tank, I applied reactive armor to a kinetic energy shot. Reactive armor only works against chemical explosive shots. So reactive armor is a special type of armor to guard against basically darts. And they're special explosion fire reactive armor. The shot against one of the shots that I made against one of my tanks was a kinetic energy shot, but I activated the reactive armor by mistake. So just that correction. All right, thank you very much for your patience. Mistakes. As time goes on, you're going to see these mistakes become less and less and less. And the reason I do these videos where I do make mistakes is because the best way to teach is to show somebody that's okay to make mistakes. And then you can compare when they first you'll be able to compare these early videos with the videos I did toward the end here, because this is a 15 turn game. You'll see that my presentation in turn 15 and the later turns more accurate. I'm also using a custom MBT module, so a lot easier, a lot clearer. And every time I make a video, I try and make things better and better.